Hey, welcome back to the Crash Base. My name is Andre. Thanks so much for tuning in. We are beginning a new campaign playthrough. We are playing through the Sinister Motives box. This is like the Spider-Man campaign box, which is a lot of fun. It's one of my favorite campaign boxes. It might be out of print right now, which is a bit unfortunate, but it's very difficult, very interesting, and has some really, really cool scenario designs. Now we're going to be talking about the setup. We have a deck here. This is a Magik deck. It's notably also a protection deck playing Change of Fortune, which is pretty fun. This is a deck that I built myself and taken on a couple test runs, but I'm excited to really put it to test here on the expert campaign. If you want to dive straight to the gameplay, there are timestamps in the YouTube time bar, so just go ahead to jump to that. In the meantime, we'll be describing this deck, how it plays, and all the sort of decisions we made coming to these 40 cards. With that, this is Magik. Magik is a Mystic X-Men hero that came out in the Age of Apocalypse and is just a ton of fun. Starting with 5 hand size and 10 hit points is pretty average. Now the 1-2-2 stat line is a bit underwhelming. A lot of heroes have that 6 stat line distributed across 3 stats, but we're going to be making up with that loss of a stat from text, and Magik has a really good text box. Your text says that you play with the top card of your deck face up. So if you're in hero mode, you'll always see what's on top of the deck. And once per phase, not round, phase, you may play the top card of your deck as if it were in your hand, reducing its cost by 1. This is just kind of a trope in Fantasy Flight games, card games. This sort of character exists in almost all their games. In Lord of the Rings, that's the Gandalf hero. In Arkham Horror, that's Norman Withers. And now we have Magik in Marvel Champions. And in all of those games, this has just been such a fun playstyle that gives you a lot of creative expression and flexibility, and really rewards interesting deck building, which I find very, very satisfying. So this is Magik, and 5 hand size. Mind you, her kit comes with no resource generators off the bat. But the big thing here is having the top of your deck be available to you as a playable card kind of makes you like a 6 hand size hero, which is quite nice. And the fact that you play that card reducing its cost by 1, kind of like a 7 hand size hero, as much as resource generators do exist in other kits. This is a really powerful ability, and the once per phase is the big reason why we're playing a protection deck, because protection is the one aspect that really wants to play cards during the villain phase, because you have a lot of defense cards that trigger when somebody attacks you, and having the ability to also play those off of the top of the deck, reducing the cost by 1, really doubles down on Magik's ability. A lot of times if you're playing like protection or justice Magik, you only fire this ability during the hero phase, not the villain phase, and it already still feels good, but we're trying to, again, double down on that and hopefully get a bit more value. Magik is a lot of fun. Now, the back of Magik is Ileana, and Ileana's text just says, while you have 3 recovery, when you flip up into hero mode, you can grab a spell from your discard pile. And a lot of the Magik cards are spells, as much as there are also spells you could add to your deck. And we do have some. You just put that card on top of your deck. And that means you'll know what's on the top of your deck, which matters because you can play it for 1 cost less during each phase. But also, there's a lot of cards that care about the top card of your deck and care about the icons specifically on those cards. The playstyle kind of reminds me a fair bit of Domino, who is another one of my favorite heroes. So you have a lot of flexibility, a lot of control, a lot of planning and foresight, and just also a bit of luck can help a heck of a lot. Now to run through Magik's kit, Magik's kit is actually really quite good. We start with this unique ally. This is Colossus. 3 for a 2/2, 3 health toughness minion is actually really quite nice. But the best part about Colossus is an interrupt. Whenever an enemy attacks you, you can play Colossus from your hand, paying its cost, and then declare Colossus as a defender without having to exhaust him. Having toughness on an ally is always a bit awkward to me, because when you play that ally, you generally don't want to thwart or attack with them right away, because if you do, the consequential damage will knock the toughness off. And the toughness is really valuable when it can soak like 6 damage from an attack from say like a villain. So the fact that Colossus can enter, immediately block, take the toughness off, and then still be ready to go is really quite nice. Another big thing about Colossus, you have the wild icon, which you'll see how that matters. But the really cool thing is that you can play Colossus from your hand, which means you can play from the top of the deck during the villain phase. So if you can ever get Colossus to the top of your deck consistently, that is just a really nice thing when Colossus comes in for 2 resources. Notably, this deck has a lot of recursion, so you can actually kind of spam Colossus and play Colossus over and over and over again. We're not going to be doing that too much, but Colossus is definitely quite a valuable card. Speaking about controlling the top of your deck, this is Limbo. This is our unique support, and our Nemesis set will actually take this away from us, and we have to fight back for control of Limbo. But this card gives us 2 ways to control the top of the deck. Either spending an action to swap a card from our hand with the top of the deck, or we can use this ability at the beginning of the villain phase before anything is attacked or activated, we've seen any boost cards, to set up the top card of our deck. That's quite valuable. It means we can get our defense events that cost 1 or 2 to the top of the deck, so we can play them cheaply using the once per phase ability of Magik. Or if we just need a certain icon or a certain card on the top of the deck to play it cheaper or set up any sort of combo, Limbo is incredibly valuable. And for 1 cost, comes down pretty consistently. We have 3 upgrades here that have pretty symmetrical text. These are also quite nice as just ways to get raw stats. Magik's Crown is the most expensive. It gives Magik Steady, which means you need 2 stuns or 2 confuses. Otherwise, that doesn't do anything. And if the top of the deck is a mental or a wild resource, Magik also gets +1 thwart. That brings Magik up to +2 thwart, or sorry, 2 thwart, which is quite nice in solo. 1 thwart is actually a bit too low, and thwarting is a problem we might run into playing a protection deck. So getting that stat on the top is really quite nice. Mystical Armor, mind you, and Soul Sword are a bit cheaper to come down. This gives you Retaliate 1, which I love on a protection deck that wants to be defending. Anytime you get hit, you do damage back, which is quite nice, especially because we're playing that sort of like, I want to defeat minions during the enemy phase sort of deck. But also at the top of the deck is an energy or a wild icon. We get +1 defense. This deck can get up to 4 defense, no problem. And the cool thing with Limbo is you can always put a card with an energy icon from your hand on top of your deck, and that means you're going into the villain phase comfortably with 4 defense and Retaliate, which is sick. Finally, we have Soul Sword, which gives us +1 attack, as you might have guessed. It gives our basic attacks piercing, which is quite nice, and this will make us a 3 attack, as long as, again, we have the top card of our deck to have a physical or a wild icon, which is something, again, we have a lot of control with Ileana's ability, with some of our recursion cards, and of course with Limbo. These are very quite nice as cheap ways to boost your stats, and you can become quite a flexible character. And we also do have a bunch of ways to ready ourselves, so we can use our basic activation a couple times. Next up is Scrying. This is one of in the deck. I would call this a cantrip, and this deck has a lot of these cantrip cards, which are cards that you play them for 0 cost, and they functionally just at least draw a card. So it just gives you information, it allows you to control the top of the deck and pushes you forward, and it doesn't really cost you much as long as you can play the event for free. This looks at the top 3 cards of your deck. You draw one, discard one, and put one back on top, which is perfect. It sets up the top of your deck for the icons and energies. It sets up so you can play something cheaply from the top of the deck, and it also just draws and discards, which are really great effects. And we have 3 copies of Stepping Disc, which is such a generous card. You know, this card has an energy icon, which can matter for some of your defense stats, but it just readies your hero for 1 cost, and choose a magic card in your discard pile not named Stepping Disc and put that on top of your deck. That is incredible. This will set you up so you can play the cheap thing off the top of your deck. This sets up so you have the right icons, which a bunch of the other cards also care about. It's just quite nice. If you have 3 attack, 2 thwart, readying yourself going again and again can also be pretty good. But Stepping Disc is just incredible, not only for controlling the top of the deck, but just getting a couple more activations in. Our next spells are pretty symmetrical as well. We have 2 copies of Exorcism and 2 copies of Soul Strike. They're both 2 that do 4 thwart or 4 attack. Exorcism, the kicker is if you have a mental or wild on top of your deck, you confuse the villain, and Soul Strike is similarly 4 damage, but if there's a physical or wild icon, you get to stun the enemy that you just attacked with this. These are both great cards. 2 for 4 is not phenomenal. However, 2 for 4 with a stun, 2 for 4 with a confuse, very quite good. And these are the sort of cards, and notice that their icons on them don't match the icons they need, so you're required to interact with a bunch of your different cards to set up these synergies and get these kickers, which is really quite fun. We're going to need Exorcism a lot. Mind you, confuse is really important. 4 threat is, or 4 thwart is really important because we don't have a lot of thwarting. So we're going to be leaning on this card a lot. And luckily with Stepping Disc, we can recur it a fair bit. Finally, for our defense shtick, we have 2 copies of Magic Barrier to line up the kind of 2/2/2 spell slot. And this says when you play it, you just prevent 3 damage. And then the kicker on this one is you have an energy or wild on top of your deck. You also deal 3 damage back. This makes a lot of sense in context of our deck that's playing Change of Fortune that wants to defeat minions while they're attacking us, or even sometimes the villain. And this, in theory, if you fire the kicker, you're paying 1 cost for like 6 value. 3 damage and 3 defense is really quite good and pretty compressed for slots on a card. And getting that kicker, we have a lot of energy cards, and ideally with Limbo, we either put this on top of our deck to play it for free, or we put the energy card, more accurately, we usually do that so we can get the full value from this card. But a really good card in our defense-based deck. Speaking of defense, we're playing protection. Protection is my favorite aspect, and one of my big reasons I've been really enjoying protection for the last year or so, because we've got a lot of really interesting protection build-arounds that make protection a bit more, less like slow, and it feels like they're more pushing themselves forward and have these cool engine pieces. This is one of the engine pieces, this Change of Fortune. We can only have 1 per player, so we have 2 copies just so we can find one consistently. And it says after you defeat an enemy during the villain phase, exhaust is to draw 2 cards. Drawing 2 cards in this game is so much value. The idea with this is we'll get this down cheaply, and then whenever minions attack us, as long as there's enough minions in the deck, and there's about 8 in the scenario we're playing, if we can defeat that minion by playing things like our Magical Barrier or some of the other cards we have, we just end up drawing 2 cards, and that's just really quite good. We actually want minions, but we want the cheap things to be on the table, the small things, and we just blow them up right before they attack us. And it's a really nice way we can play some of these cards off the top of the deck using Magik's ability, saving a resource, again, once per phase, not once per round. These are our 2 ways in protection to fire that ability. We have 2 copies of Powerful Punch. 2 cost feels a bit expensive, but when you make this 1 cost by playing it on the top of your deck, it's perfect. This is an attack and defense card that just does 4 damage to an enemy right when it initiates an attack. So if a minion comes in with 3 health, 4 health, we just blow it up immediately, draw 2 cards. Notably, this is also defense traded, so you've technically defended, so any payoffs that care if you defend and say take no damage should work on these, as long as it doesn't ask you to take the basic like defense action, exhaust yourself. But Powerful Punch is fantastic, especially when you set it and play it cheaper. Now, Riposte, on the other hand, is a bit more situational. This requires us to do a basic defense, and when we play this, hopefully from the top of our deck for free, we get +2 defense, so we can go all the way up to 6 defense, which is pretty reasonable. And if we take no damage, we do 3 damage back. This is a bit more consistent against minions because you usually know, barring Villainous, how much damage the minion's going to do to you. But then we defeat the minion at instant speed during the villain phase and also end up drawing cards from our Change of Fortune, which makes it a quite nice engine piece. Ideally, also, we play it for free, and it has those energy icons for the top of our deck. Now, next up, we have 2 copies of Come Get Me Bub. This is a card that if your deck wants minions engaged with you, this will get the minions and put them in play. This rips cards off the top of the counter deck until you find a minion, and then you put it in play, engage with you. If that happens, you heal 3 damage and get a tough status card, which is a great effect. This costs nothing to play, which is great. And notably, this doesn't reveal the minion and puts it into play. That means you can still get hit by Quick Strike when it engages you, but any nasty minion that has a win reveal, you will ignore that. Now this, you don't always need to play. In certain scenarios when there's only like 1 or 2 minions in the deck, it's a bit of a bummer, and maybe you can change some of the card slots to kind of fix that issue you might have. But for a scenario like this with 8 minions, this is not a very big cost and doesn't do a lot of damage to the deck, that you don't end up milling half the deck just to find a minion. But that's a nice piece. We're only playing 2 because ideally we don't need 1 all the time. Finally, for protection, 2 staples here. We have Armored Vest from the core set. This just gives us +1 defense. This means we can go from base 2 to 3 and all the way up to 4. And then we have Unflappable, which just says after you defend against an attack and take no damage, we can exhaust this to draw a card. Which on top of Change of Fortune means if we play a defense event and don't take any damage because the minion blew up, we end up drawing 3 cards. We don't need this turn 1. We're not a perfect block deck specifically because our defense stat is not actually that good compared to some other big defenders that start with 3 defense, but it's a nice card to get down in the mid to late game. Next up, we have allies. We have 5 allies in the deck. We've already looked at Colossus. We have 2 protection allies and 2 basics. We have Polaris. I like Polaris a lot in protection decks. 2 attack is nice, costs 3, has 3 health, and after you play Polaris, you can give an X-Men a tough status card. Well, you can give it to Polaris, we'll probably just give it to ourselves, which is nice because we don't like to take huge attacks. Now, a bit of a theme break, we're on Jocasta as well. Now, this Android Avenger, when Jocasta comes into play, we can grab a defense event from our discard pile and attach it to Jocasta, and then we can play it as if it were in our hand. This just helps a lot. It gives us an extra hand size technically, but it means that we are a bit easier to set up some of these combos in which we have to hold that event for when a minion attacks us. Also, having that 2 thwart is great. We struggle with thwart a bit, and while 2 consequential is a bit rough, technically like getting a card draw and getting 4 thwart or 2 thwart and like a chump block is kind of okay. So Jocasta's not bad. On the neutral side, we're playing Prof X. Of course we are. 3 thwart, confuse, ready, whatever you want with this. Professor X is really quite good. Get that chump block. And then finally, we're playing Legion. And Legion is just so good in this deck. Legion is 3 costs for only a 1 thwart, 1 attack, 3 health. However, after Legion uses a basic power, you can choose to discard the top of your deck, and based off the icon on the card you're discarding, you get one of these 3 effects. And they're all really good effects. Technically, with the physical icon, you can make sure Legion lasts forever. Notably, this response is optional, so if you see the top of the deck and you like it, you don't have to fire Legion. But notably, this gives us more control over the top of the deck. You'll end up on turns where the top of the deck is not what you want. Either it doesn't line up with any of your symbols, or it just isn't a card that you want to play, or you can't play off the top of your deck. And so Legion allows you to break that lock and push yourself forward and see the next card, which is just really, really nice. And you come up with some very creative uses for Legion. Legion is sick. Our last cards are all just like utility and some Mystic synergy. It's the Sorcerer Supreme. There's no reason not to play this if you're playing one of the few Mystic traded heroes. It just gives you +1 hand size. I believe this wasn't reprinted, just originally came out in the Doctor Strange pack, as you see there. And just having 6 hand size, 7 hand size with their ability functionally is just very, very good. Not too different is 3 copies of Spiritual Meditation. This card's another one of these like cantrip effects, where when you play it, it draws 2 cards and you discard any card from your hand. So you just functionally just draw 1 card by playing a card in terms of card advantage. But it allows you to break the lock on the top of the deck, see more cards, allows you to set up aggressively, and it gives you control. It gets cards into your bin, which can matter for your stepping disc and some other stuff. It just kind of pushes you forward really, really aggressively, and it feels very, very smooth. If it's on top of your deck, it's a bit ugly to play with Magik because you don't get that 1 cost reduction, which feels like you're losing something, but it just then does give you +1 card into your actual hand and sets up a nuke top of the deck, which can be useful. Then for resources, we're playing all 3 basic resources, which can be a bit ugly sometimes, mind you, with Magik. Because if they're on top of your deck, you can't pitch them because you only play cards from the top of your deck. So ideally you swap them out with Limbo. Then we're playing the X-Jet because it's quite good. Just once you set this up, you get a resource a turn and it's wild. And then we're playing X-Gene, which we can only play when we're mutant, which means we can only play it when we're in our alter ego side. But we have a lot of identity specific events that cost 1 to 2. And we play all those for free off the top of your deck, let alone with X-Gene. And that's the deck. It's been really fun in our testing game so far. You have a fair few little minions you can blow through. You do have some problems sometimes with thwarting they have to watch out for. Stun and confuse. If we play against a stalwart villain, that's a bit rough, but Here with Sandman, we should have no problem, hopefully, setting up the top of our deck and getting that stun lock, confuse lock, while also pushing ourselves forward. That's this deck. I'm going to give this a shuffle, and then we'll set up Sandman really quickly, and we'll jump into scenario 1. All right, so we only have one main scheme here. It's called Hapless Pedestrians. We're going to be playing with Sandman 2 and 3 because we're playing on Expert. We're going to be playing Standard 3, which I like a fair bit more. We're going to be using City and Chaos and Down to Earth. Our setup says search the encounter deck for City Streets environment and put into play, placing 4 sand counters on it. City Streets is huge. It's the main thing in this encounter. It is this environment card. It's a location that's going to come in with 4 counters, and it has an ability on it, which whenever the game tells us to do the Surging Sand special ability, we have to place 1 sand counter here, so it'll go up to 5, and then we have to rip cards off the top of the encounter deck equal to the number of cards here. Ripping through the deck means you'll get acceleration icons a bit faster. You also notice that when we empty the deck out, we have to take a bunch of damage, which is a downside you have to watch out for. But we just don't want to get this out of control because there's a bunch of different things that scale with the amount of sand counters, and they can get out of hand pretty quickly. Now we have a hero action here that once per round, we can exhaust a character to remove counters here equal to the character's attack. We're just out there shoveling sand, vacuuming up sand, and that's something we're going to have to do every single round. I generally prioritize getting this down as soon as possible, as much as we're going to have some other problems we'll talk about in a moment. You just can't let this get out of hand. Now, dropping an ally with like 2 attack and just exhausting them every turn is probably a strategy we want to get to work relatively quickly. The backside of Hapless Pedestrian says it has 9 limit. So if this hits 9 threat, we lose the game. Yeah, if the stage is completed, the players lose the game. It says Sandman floods the city streets with rushing sands, putting innocent bystanders at great danger. Force response, after an acceleration token is placed on the scheme, deal 3 indirect damage to the first player. So again, when it says empties, we take some damage, get an acceleration icon. It does come in with 2 threat, and we'll be getting 1 a turn. Sandman, mind you, doesn't thwart for that a lot, but we can probably hang out a bit in Alter Ego if we need to. The issues we have to really deal with the city streets. Now, Sandman says, has 18 health, only schemes for 1, attacks for 3. It says, when revealed, we resolve the Surging Sands ability on city streets. And a force interrupt, when Sandman attacks, the attack deals indirect damage. If your identity takes any amount of damage from that attack, we resolve the Surging Sands. So if Sandman's attacking and we're leaking damage to our face, we have to mill cards off the top of the deck. And again, that gets worse and worse and worse, and we're stuck shoveling sand again. Let's shuffle this really quickly, but then we have to do the ability here on Surging Sands on city streets. That means we're going to have to put this up to 5 counters and then rip 5 off the top of the deck. Now, notably, we have some campaign setup to do, and you technically do the main setup before the campaign setup. So any of the campaign cards that we're adding to the deck, we don't have a chance of ripping them here off the top. So this will go up to 5, and then we'll just discard 5 off the top of the deck. And we want to try and pay attention to what these cards are, because you actually get a fair bit of information on what's in the discard pile. So we're going to lose a Sandform, Sandstorm, Loose Ends, Common Criminal, and Now or Never. So nothing super important. I generally track the cards from a standard that cause the villain to attack or scheme. Those are definitely worth knowing where they are. We didn't see any of those here, so not too much information. We also lost 1 minion. There are 7 more minions in the deck. One of them is really big. It's Rhino, but that's another thing we want to keep track of in case we want to play Come Get Me Bub. Now, the campaign. We're playing on Expert, so we have a couple things that start in play. Firstly, Public Outcry, and this is I think the biggest card that makes Expert so much harder in this campaign than when you play on Standard. This just starts in play, and it comes in with 3 per player notoriety counters, and it gives us this crisis icon, or hazard icon, excuse me. So we're going to be drawing an extra encounter card every phase, which is an issue, especially on turn 1 when we're the least set up and we're the least ready to deal with those cards. As a response, after a minion or side scheme is defeated, we can remove a notoriety counter from here, and as soon as possible, largely, we want to remove counters from here because that is a problem. So that means we want side schemes, we want minions as soon as possible. We don't want treacheries or obligations. And so sometimes Come Get Me Bub just to get something on the table is kind of the name of the game. We also have to shuffle in 1 Smear Campaign. This, when it's drawn, adds counters to Public Outcry. That's a problem. If you draw this on turn 1, it is such a nightmare where this hits 5 counters. This also has Surge on Expert. Otherwise, it'll just do some threat. And then finally, we have to pick one of these 5 side schemes that are kind of down to earth coded and shuffle them into the deck. So it looks like we're going to go for the middle off the rails. We're going to have to stop a train. This one, I think you have to do relatively quickly before the train falls off the tracks. That's all the setup is, and we'll just give this a shuffle. All right, cool. That's back to us, and we can take our mulligan here. Of course, we're starting here in Alter Ego, so we're Ilyana. It's totally worth knowing that Ilyana's ability is like pretty fascinating when you're doing your mulligan, because when you change to hero form, you can grab a spell in your discard pile and dunk it on top of your deck, which means when you're Magic, you can play that card for reduced cost of 1, let alone you can set those top of deck synergies up. Now, the cool thing with that too is like if you have a card in your mulligan that is a spell, you can make sure if you discard it on your mulligan, you can put it on top of the deck, which is nice. It gives you control. But also you can like pitch that card to play a card when you're in Alter Ego and then just also get that card on top of your deck as well. So spells are nice. We have a whole bunch of different cheap spells. A lot of them are like draw cards and scry, which is cool. I don't think we want the 4-threat confuse here. 4 damage, we probably don't want either. So I kind of just want to get down some upgrades, get some resource generators, and maybe we'll come get me Bub to go get a minion because getting public outcry down as soon as possible helps a heck of a lot. Cool. With that, 6 cards. Let's go. Spiritual Meditation. This card is hard to evaluate on its own. It is technically the next 2 cards, the best of the next 2 cards, so it's never that bad. But it's not a slam dunk, but it can be better. Genius, okay, that's a resource. We like that as much as we don't want too many of them. Unflappable, we don't really want to keep this on turn 1 because we have other problems to set up. We need to bring our defense stat up before this actually does something. Powerful Punch, we don't want to keep that. We have the X-Jet. We'll definitely keep that because we can set it up relatively well with Genius. We can even like, oh, we can't put it on top of our deck unless we have Limbo, but playing it for 2 on the top of your deck feels good. And then we have a Magic Barrier, which is not incredibly useful here. It is a card that we can use to block, but obviously on our starting turn, we don't need that. I think we'll keep Spiritual Meditation. We do have a spell that we can put on top of our deck that has a physical icon. So we can find a copy of Soul Strike. We can do 4 damage to Sandman and get a stun, which will be pretty good. Yeah. All right. 3 more. Strength. Okay. Stepping Disc, that's totally okay here. And then lastly, we have another Stepping Disc. So kind of a weird hand. At least we have a whole bunch of spells. We might be able to Stepping Disc a couple times where we can put Stepping Disc on top of our deck and play it for free. So we have to decide what to do here. So we have no top of deck synergy cards. I think I'm going to start with Spiritual Meditation just to get some options. We can also dunk this on top of our deck after we flip up and then play it again with Magic as much as we lose the resource. So we draw 2 and we can discard a card from our hand. So we have Change of Fortune and Powerful Punch. I think here we're just going to discard the Powerful Punch. There's no way we're going to keep it. This means the strength is a bit not great, but I think here we're just going to go for the, it's like the Stepping Discs aren't actually that good because readying ourselves, we want to take 2 off of City Streets for sure, but then we don't really want to need a Thwart. We don't really need to attack Sandman. So we might actually just get rid of a Stepping Disc and play the X-Jet. We can use X-Jet to put, well, we can flip up now and put a spell on top of our deck, which we could just put the Spiritual Meditation. We have no other spells that we really want to play here. We could put Stepping Disc on top of our deck as well and play it, but I'd rather keep this in our hand. And then we can set up with Change of Fortune. I think this is okay. So here we'll pitch 2 and a Stepping Disc to play the X-Jet. This, mind you, we can't use this resource until we flip up because we're not an X-Men here. We're only a mutant. And when we flip up, we can put a spell on top of our deck. So either we put the Stepping Disc, but I think we're going to put the Spiritual Meditation and just lose a bit of value there. Oh, notably, we have an icon, and I put 1 ready icon here to remind us whether we've done the once per turn ability on Magic. Now, Ilyana here, I think we'll flip up, and when you change to hero form, you can choose to put a spell on top of our deck, so we'll put the Meditation on top of our deck. That happens before we see the top of the deck, from my understanding. And I think we're just going to use Magic's ability here to play it from the top of the deck. So you may play it as if in your hand. So we draw 2. Oh, that's quite good. Oh, that's really quite good. And notably, while this resolves, I believe we get to see the top of our deck because these are aside and in our hand while we're resolving the rest of Spiritual Meditation. Now, the rest of Spiritual Meditation just tells us we have to discard a card. So I think we want to play this. The top of our deck is a mental resource. We could set this up actually really well. We have to discard a card though. So Magic's Crown we can play for free. X-Jet can play this, and then we can play Stepping Disc, but we'll actually be short a card because we still have to discard a card very importantly. So that means we can't play everything. We can give ourselves +3 attack. So if we don't play Magic's Crown, say we discard this and say that we play Soul Sword and then we play Stepping Disc, which is a bit ugly. Or so say that we X-Jet Soul Sword, then we can play Stepping Disc and put a physical on top of our deck. With a physical on top of our deck, we can get 3 off of City Streets, which might be a good start. This means we don't play Magic's Crown this turn and we just hold it in our hand. I don't know if we need the steady on turn 1. It feels pretty good to play Magic's Crown for 2 with the double, because otherwise that's a bit awkward. But we do have X-Jet, so it's not that bad. Otherwise, we're wasting the value of this Genius. Like, it doesn't line up well with our hand. But I feel like to some extent, we want to get the Soul Sword down and we want to get the top of our deck to be a physical, just so we can start working on the City Streets and get 3 of the sand counters off of it, because that is a pretty rough thing when that gets out of hand. So I think I will do that as much as this feels inefficient. So I'm going to use X-Jet to play Soul Sword. This gives us piercing, which is quite nice. I don't know if there's that much toughness in the scenario, and it gives us +1 attack if the top card of our deck lines up with what we want it to, with a physical or a wild. I'm now just going to thwart for 1 to deal with this. I think we could attack Sandman for 2, but I will just keep this down a bit so we can go down to Alter Ego if we want to. And then we're going to go pitch. Oh, I didn't discard a card, mind you, to Spiritual Meditation. No, I think we still have to do that. Excuse me. And then we're going to play Stepping Disc for overpay, unfortunately. Ready your hero. Then we can pick a Magic card in a discard pile not named Stepping Disc and put on top of our deck. So we'll put the Magical Barrier on top of our deck, which has a physical icon in the corner. which means Soul Sword does have its kicker, which gives us +1 attack. And now off the text of City Streets, we're going to exhaust Magik to remove up to our attack. So this goes down to 2 from 5. That's it. It leaves us with a Magik's Crown. We're going to be drawing a Magic Barrier, which we could play with X-Jet to hopefully block some damage. That might be good. And I think that's it. We'll see if we have an energy on top of our deck, but pass. So we'll hold on to Magik's Crown. We have the Barrier. We have the Come Get Me Bub. 2 unknown cards. We have the Jocasta, and then we have the Sorcerer Supreme. That's a really good card to play as soon as possible. +1 hand size. Top of the deck is Soul Strike, which is a stun if we can set it up properly, which we're going to maybe struggle to do that. But Soul Strike wants the top of the deck to be physical, which we kind of want to with Soul Sword as well. Okay, so Hapless Pedestrians gets 1. Sandman is now attacking for 3 a card. Notably, when Sandman attacks, the damage is indirect, so we'll have to take the damage. There's no one else to put it to. And if we take any damage with this, we have to do City Streets, which means it'll go to 3 counters, and then we'll mill 3 cards. In theory, here we could Magic Barrier. That protects 3 damage, which in theory, we're expecting Sandman to do somewhere between 3 to 6 damage. So this doesn't do enough on its own. I don't love to play Magic Barrier if we don't get the kicker on it. So I think we might just take the damage here. Hopefully let clear City Streets. We're going to be drawing 2 encounter cards as well, which we have to prepare for. And then this hand, we might actually flip down. So we can probably play 2 2-costers. Like we can play the Sorcerer Supreme and the Crown, I'm guessing. And then just like hope for the best. So Sandman's attacking. Do we want to defend? If we don't defend, we can. If we defend, we can't deal with City Streets because we don't have a ready effect. So we'll just take 3 in a card. Oh boy, off the rails. That is the card that we added in. That's 6 damage. Yikes. And we took indirect. So Sandman fires this ability. So we have to rip 3 off the top of the deck. It's a common criminal. We'd love to draw on that. Panic in the Streets and another Sand Clone. So that's 2 more minions out for Come Get Me Bub. And this is the card that we added in randomly. It has Victory 1 on it. So we're going to lose that ability to get some victory. And victory actually really matters in this campaign. All right, 2 encounter cards. Hoping not for another big attack. Dirt Trap. Okay, this is actually not the worst. It's a little small scheme with only 1 threat on it. It has a crisis icon, which we don't really care about. And when we clear it, we have to fire the Surging Sands on the City Streets. So when we get this down to 0, that's not that bad. And clearing this will take 1 counter off of Public Outcry, which is good. All right, that's another volunteer work. You cannot thwart the scheme, but as an alter ego action, we can spend 2 resources of any type to remove threat from the scheme equal to your recovery, which is 3. And if your identity has a civilian trait, draw 1 card. I think Ileana is just a mutant. There's no way that she's a civilian. Yeah. Oh, and a mystic, of course. So dealing with 2 of those, we'll deal with Public Outcry, which is nice. We can clear this if we want to. Spend 2 resources of any type. So if we do that, it's going to come at the cost of setting up. This hand is a bit expensive. Mind you, we're still ready here. And we have, in theory, we can have 2 thwart if we get down our crown because the top of our deck is a mental. We can also play Soul Strike for 1, which is nice to use Magik's ability. And that'll do 4 damage and a stun. If there's a stun, we actually could stay up here on this side, which would be kind of reasonable. Yeah, I think we might want to do that. So just want to plan our turn. We can X-Jet for Soul Strike. We'll see the next card. If it's a 3 attack, we can clear City Streets. Sorry, if it's a physical, that will give us 5 cards in hand. With 5 cards in hand, we definitely play Sorcerer Supreme. And that leaves us awkwardly with 1 card here that we can't play, like 2 cards we can't play. If we don't play Soul Strike, we can play our whole hand, right? Because we can play 2-coster using X-Jet and these 3 cards, which will give us +1 thwart, which doesn't really matter because we can't thwart volunteer work. We have to go to alter ego. The thing is with Soul Strike, the chance of it hitting the stun is like obviously a question mark. Like we have no idea what the next card is going to be because once you play this, then you reveal the card underneath it and like hope for the best. So not sure if that's a consistent plan. Otherwise, we can hop down. We can spend 2 resources on volunteer work. That'll bring Outcry down to 2. I'm okay playing Soul Strike, I think. Maybe we have to get a bit lucky here. We're at 4. Yeah, if we miss on the stun, I think we have to flip down and probably recover here. Yeah, maybe we won't shovel. If we get the physical, we'll probably shovel and then we'll recover on the way back up. So I'm going to try and play this using Magik's ability. So again, once per phase, we can play the top card of our deck. So we'll use X-Jet to generate 1 resource and then we'll play Soul Strike off the top. And we're trying to get a wild or a physical underneath this. Oof. These cards suck off the top of the deck because they don't do anything there. We're going to draw them, and then in alter ego we can get rid of volunteer work. That's probably worth it. But this just deals 4 damage to the villain and no stun. It's also the worst kind of card on top of our deck because we can't get the extra +1 thwart from Magik's Crown, which stinks because this needs a mental resource. So that was the worst kind of resource we could have found there. So now what do? We could play Jocasta for 3. No. Are we going to go to alter ego? I think we are going to go to alter ego, which means we probably play Sorcerer Supreme. Oh, that's really ugly. Yeah, maybe we shouldn't have played it. Maybe that risk was too high. We could have played 2 good cards. The stone would have been really sick, that's for sure. So we can shovel for 2, drop this to 1. We could also just play Jocasta. That might be fine. We have a defense event in our bin, right? Yeah, we definitely have powerful punches, which we can hold on to. And this gives us even sometimes like having a minion around or having an ally around means we can soak a bit of the indirect damage, which matters in this scenario. Now, if we play Jocasta, that would be 3 cards, and we could just hold on to the Sorcerer Supreme. The Sorcerer Supreme doesn't do anything if we're in Alter Ego, because this only gives us +1 hand size if we're in hero mode, but that's one of our most valuable cards. If we do this, we discard Magic's Crown, which gets rid of Steady, but +1 Thwart we might not need. That being said, like we can always get these cards back because Stepping Disc just says put a magic card on top of your deck, and then we can play Magic's Crown later, so we might not have to be too precious with this. We'll Jocasta Thwart for 2 and deal with Dirt Trap. I don't know what else Jocasta's doing. Maybe we'll just use Jocasta as a soak. We can also do 1 off City Streets with Jocasta, but I don't think we can do 2 with Magic. So I think we'll just play Jocasta. It's a bit more efficient. So we'll pitch 3 for Jocasta. Jocasta says after it enters play, grab a defense event, and you can attach it to Jocasta. So actually we'll add a Magic Barrier. It's I think a bit nicer for us. So we can play this as if we're in our hand, and she has 3 health and is ready. Okay, we're gonna exhaust Magic to deal with the City Streets. So this will go down to 1 because we have 2 attack. We'll flip down, which means this card flips down. And then I think here with Jocasta, we'll probably just pass. We could do Dirt Trap. Yeah, we probably can't just do Dirt Trap here. Actually, no, that's 2 Thwart we waste. So we'd rather use this on this after we clear that. So we'll just pass. Ready up. We draw up to 6 hand size. We have the energy, of course. We have Legion. That's a good start. We have Limbo, quite flexible. We have a Stepping Disc. That's also quite good. And a Riposte, which won't be useful here. Again, when we flip up, we can put a spell on top of our deck. We might have to need a recover here, but we'll see how bad this goes for us. This goes to 2. Sandman's going to thwart for 1 and a card, or scheme for 1 and a card. 3 icons. That's Rhino. So if we got me bubbed, Rhino would have shown up. So this goes up to 6, which again, once it hits 9, we lose the game. 2 encounter cards. If we hit a Dark Designs, we're kind of cooked. First card, Sand Clone. Okay, it's good to get these things. These scale with the amount of counters on City Streets and add counters. The good thing is that there are 3 health minions, which means it's very easy for us to defeat them during the villain phase and get our combo. It also means Public Outcry will be worked on. Under Fire. Oof. Oh, that's not good at all. This is an expert card. Reveal the top card of the counter deck. Surge. So just 2 cards. I thought this is the one that exhausted us. I guess that's the other one called Exhaustion. Tidal Sands. Okay. Another side scheme. Not in a great spot for as good or thwarting is. When revealed, place X additional threat here where X is equal to the number of sand counters on City Streets. It has a hazard icon. So that is 4. Or sorry, 3. Good that we worked on that. So hopefully when we flip up, we'll probably get an Exorcism on top of our deck so we can deal with one of these. Do we have an Exorcism? Oh, we don't have an Exorcism yet? Oh shit, we're gonna need to find an Exorcism for this. Our last card, it's another Dirt Trap. That is, it's a problem. I mean, that's a lot of side schemes. Very quickly. This one, mind you, volunteer work, we can't even thwart. Oh, we meant to put another one on here. Sorry, this is on 7 because we have an acceleration. I missed that. But volunteer work, we can't normally thwart. We have to do something in Alter Ego. Spend 2 resources, remove threat equal to your hero's recovery. So we'll probably end up doing that. That means that we'll be in hero mode with only 4 health, probably. We should be able to deal with Public Outcry here, no problem. This might be a nice time for Legion as well, because Legion can take 1 thwart off of 1 and then 2 thwart off of another. So you can clear 2 Dirt Traps in a single activation, which is kind of nice. As much as that's going to mill some cards, I don't think we can be too precious about that at this point. Okay, what are we doing? Stepping Disc. It's definitely an option. With Stepping Disc, we can ready our hero, and we can even put Magic's Crown on top of our deck. We don't have anything that has top of deck synergy, so we are not looking for a certain icon. We also could go grab something that just gives us card draw. Oh, this has to be a Magic card. Oh, Colossus would be really good here for a cheap block. Maybe we'll draw Colossus naturally. So I think we're just going to spend 2 resources, energy, and deal volunteer work. This says spend 2 resources, remove threat from this equal to your recovery, which is 3. If your identity has civilian, we don't. So we'll clear volunteer work, which gets rid of our first card on Public Outcry, which now has 2 counters left. We need to get rid of that. Wait, do we just like recover here and then use Jocasta to do shoveling? I think there's a chance. Yeah, because we can ready ourselves. I don't think we care about the Sand Clone. Sand Clone will attack for maybe 2. If we have a powerful punch with Magic Barrier, we can actually defeat the Sand Clone when it attacks us. But so our hand here is like, if we play, we play these 3 in Next Jet or Legion, we can set up the top of the deck, and Legion in theory on top of the deck wants a mental resource. We could Soul Strike Sandman, which might be reasonable. The problem is if we play the Soul Strike from the top of the deck, it won't be there for Legion because Legion discards the card. We can also put a Spiritual Meditation on the top. A Scrying would have been perfect, but we can just put a Meditation on top. So we want to hold on to this. I don't think we're going to have time to play it. We can play Stepping Disc with X-Jet. That'll ready us. Then we can choose a magic card on top of our deck, or put it on top of our deck, excuse me. For that, we could put the Soul Strike. I think our only option, yeah, is Magic's Crown or Soul Strike. Getting rid of Tidal Sands would actually be pretty good too. 3 Thwart. That's hard for us. I think Legion should get rid of the Tidal Sands. This will go up to 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's scary. I think there's no way around that though with 2 Crisis Icons. I think we just get rid of the Tidal Sands and then the Sand Clone and then deal with these later. Jocasta could get rid of 1, which is fine, but it's probably right, yeah. I think Jocasta deals with City Streets. We thwart 1, and then we use Legion on this one. So if that's the case, we need a mental on top of our deck guaranteed because the Legion's text. So we're going to flip up. We're going to get a mental on top of our deck. When we flip, we can put a spell on top of our deck. I think we're just going to put Soul Strike there just to guarantee the mental icon. And then we have to get a bit lucky here. So we're going to pitch Limbo and Riposte for Legion. Comes in with 3 health. Limbo, Riposte, and X-Jet for Legion. So this does 1 and 1, or it does 3. I think we don't want to draw another encounter card. So Legion will thwart for 1. We'll remove 1 from here. And Legion Can is optional. After Legion uses the basic power, discard the top card of your deck. If the card's printed resource is mental, which this is, remove 3 threat from a scheme. We get to reveal the next card, which is a Change of Fortune. We can play that for free, which is actually nice because it sets up the magical barrier. But that'll clear 2 from Tidal Sands, which means we lose one of those hazard icons, and this goes down to 1. Okay, from here, Magik is not attacking for 2. We have the Stepping Disc, which we might need to play. So our options are we can thwart one of these. We can clear City Streets, but I think Jocasta does that. So I think we thwart one of these, and then I think Jocasta thwarts one of these, and then we clear 2 from this, and then we ready. I think that's the best way to do it. So we'll just use Jocasta, take 2 consequential. We can block. Oh, you can't block Sandman. That's fine. Jocasta will thwart for 2, clearing a Dirt Trap. Dirt Trap says, when defeated, resolve the Surging Sands. So this goes to 2, and we mill 2 cards. So we lose a Sand Smash and a Dark Design. It's good to see one of those go. That means we've cleared the last card from Public Outcry, and we are free from its grasp. Oh my god, this card on Expert is so rough. So that is out, which is good. That means we're only getting 1 encounter card so far. If this is at 7, it'll go up to 8. We still have a Crisis Icon. I think here we have to throw out the Sorcerer Supreme is my guess. Sand Clone will be attacking for 0, which means we can just let that go through, or we can Magic Barrier if we have the right setup. So the thing with Stepping Disc is we can put a spell on top of our deck. Or sorry, not even a spell, a magic card. The thing is, all the magic cards, we can put Limbo on top of our deck, which is reasonable, and then Change of Fortune we can have later. I think Limbo on top of our deck might be a bit better, because I think Limbo is really important for us. So I'm going to pitch Sorcerer Supreme, sadly, for Stepping Disc. Oh, hold on. First, we should activate. So we either, I think we're just going to shovel. So that goes down to 0. Then we'll play Stepping Disc, ready your hero, choose a magic card in your discard pile, and put it on top of your deck. So we have a Limbo. And now we can use our once per turn ability to play Limbo, which gives us a lot of flexibility here. Limbo says, having the villain phase begins, we can swap a card from our hand to the top of the deck, so we can set up the synergy with Magic Barrier, as long as we have a card with an energy icon, which is good. Here, oh, maybe we should have recovered for 3. It's a bit too late. We got some extra information. We get thwart 1 on Dirt Trap, which means Sand Clone will do 1 damage. We get attack for 2 to Sand Clone, which is not enough. Could have been 3. We'd have been good there. We have Piercing, which doesn't matter. Yeah, I think we'll just get rid of Dirt Trap. So when defeated, same thing, resolve the Surging Sands. So we add 1 counter and we rip a Master Plan, which would have been our boost card. This goes back up to 1. Okay, we ready? We might have to recover at some point. We're really going to need to confuse. We haven't seen, I think, no exorcisms. We're going to be drawing up only to 5 cards, rip our extra hand size. Change of Fortune, there's an exorcism. There's an exorcism. Exchange for Alter Ego, and we have a Magic Barrier. Top of the deck is an energy icon with Riposte. So that's super useful. It means that we can either play the Riposte from the top of our deck. We can also swap a card from our hand to the top of the deck. But I think here we just play Magic Barrier. Do we play it against the Sand Clone to prevent 1 damage, or we play against Sandman? I think we play it against Sandman. This goes to 8. Hopefully we don't get... There's like a couple cards. If we draw Smear Campaign, we also just lose, because I do think it puts threat there. We're going to need Exorcism for sure. So do we defend for 1, 2, 3, 4 with a Riposte? Or do we play this Magic Barrier and prevent 3 damage? Sand Clone only does 1 damage, which I don't care about. We have no reason to defeat it. I think we probably play this Magic Barrier so we can block with Jocasta if we need to, or thwart with Jocasta. So play this Magic Barrier with X-Jet. It says, when an enemy initiates attack, which Sandman is attacking for 3 in a card, prevent 3 of the damage. And if the top card has the icon, which it does, deal 3 damage to attacking enemies. So Sandman's going to take 3 down to 11. All right, Sandman's attacking for 3. We're defending. We're blocking the first 3. We can still exhaust to defend, or we can block with an ally, but it's doesn't really matter to block with an ally because it is indirect. So we're hoping for no boost icon. If it's a big boost icon, if it's 3 boosts, we can do 1 to 2 to us. I don't want to defend. I feel like we need to recover or we need to thwart. So we'll just do no block. 3 boost icons. Okay, that's bad, but at least that's the smear campaign out of the way, which is a card that if we drew, we would have lost. So that means that's going to be 6 damage. We prevented 3 of them, so we have to take 3. We'll give 1 to Legion, I think, and then we'll take 2 to ourselves, which means because we took damage, we have to do this. So City Streets Mills 2. Sinister Strike, we got rid of. That's good, and Nowhere is fine. That means the Sand Clone is now attacking for 2. So that was maybe a bit awkward because now the Sand Clone is attacking for 2. If we don't block, we die. So we might have to just block here with Jocasta because this doesn't do interact. So I think, yeah, we're just going to have to block with Jocasta. Jocasta is defeated. Bummer. We also could have just defeated all the minions and then took no damage, or all our allies. It's okay. 1 encounter card. It's Exhaustion. Ugh. Hate it. Punish for not blocking. Surge, exhaust your identity card. So if this is an attack, we're cooked. It's not. It's Sand form. So this gets attached to Sandman. It says the next time we would deal damage to Sandman, don't, and do Surging Sands instead. So we don't want to do a big attack, but I'm pretty sure here we need to Exorcism Confuse and then flip down. So we're going to let that hang out for a bit. Sand Clone also schemes for 1, which is not that big of a deal. So we might have a chance here. Big thing is our hand has Exorcisms, and Exorcism says that we can get the Confuse as long as the top of the deck is Wild or Mental, which means we have no problem using Limbo. Swap these 2. And that should do that. Mind you, Limbo just has an action to swap a card from your hand with the top of the deck. All right. What are we playing? Magic Barrier, Riposte for Exorcism. This removes 4 threats, so this goes down from 8 to 4, and we get to confuse the villain. We don't want to use Legion here because Legion will be defeated. We want to keep Legion around until we have a physical on top of the deck. This leaves us with these 2 cards, which we could play. We can play Change of Fortune, mind you, for free from the top of the deck, so we will. This will be set up for the rest of the game, which is not bad. We could exhaust Legion to shovel 1. I think that's what we will do. The top of the deck is now Come Get Me Bub, which we can't play. So we might flip down and just play X-Gene for 1. And then be set up, and next round we can put another Exorcism on top of the deck. I think that's fine. So we'll exhaust Legion to shuffle some sand. We'll flip down with Magic, flipping the top of our deck. And then we'll play an X-Gene for 1. X-Gene just says our identity-specific events get 1 cheaper once per round. That's it. I think we are on the path to pulling this back together. He says, hopefully. Come Get Me Bub, Spiritual Meditation, Powerful Punch, Spiritual Meditation, Armored Vest, and Riposte. So pretty ugly hand, but luckily Spiritual Meditation can be anything. It could be a boat, so that's fine. This goes to 5, Sandman is confused. This goes to 6 when Sand Clone activates. Again, hoping for a good encounter card here. Evil Alliance, that's not the worst. When revealed, each Nemesis minion activates, otherwise place 3 pursuit counters, so we're pretty close to having our Nemesis show up. Once this hits 4, we get our Nemesis, which is pretty consistent when you play standard 3. Okay, we're on 2 health. We probably need to recover here. We can start by Spiritual Meditationing. Our deck only has 6 cards left, so we'll draw 2, discard 1, draw 2, discard 1, put 1 on top of our deck. Now that will give us a bit of consistency on what we're drawing into. If we look into our deck, what's left in our deck? We have a Professor X, which would be pretty good. It's not perfect because Sandman, like chump blocking with indirect damage, is not the same thing. So the bottom of our deck has Professor X, no more resources. I think it has our armor, if I'm not mistaken. How many stepping discs are left? Because that would be a really nice card, so we could heal and actually do something. I think it has 1 stepping disc. No stepping discs, but there's a scrying in there. That doesn't actually work. All right, we'll just rip it. I think we're going to, no matter what. Oh, mind you, Legion's ready. So Spiritual Meditation, draw 2, discard a card. So Soul Strike for a stun would be sick. And there's the armor. We have to discard a card from our hand. Mind you, Soul Strike needs a physical, so we're going to hold on to the Powerful Punch. I think we're going to discard the Come Get Me Bub. It's not unreasonable. There's probably there's still some small minions in the deck. We've got rid of Rhino. I think we'll get rid of the Riposte. Actually, Riposte into Sand Clone is kind of sick. Actually, Powerful Punch is better. Yeah, we'll get rid of the Come Get Me Bub. All right, we're going to deck out. We have 4 cards left. We can keep looking if we want to. Yeah, we'll meditate again. So draw 2, discard 1. So it's Polaris and Colossus. Oh yeah, we have Colossus. I have to discard a card here. I think it'll be the Riposte. We're going to try and stun Sandman, but first we want to do 1 damage so Sand form doesn't remove 4 damage instead. I think we're going to recover 3 here. Yeah, that's fine. So we'll recover 3. Up to 5. We'll flip, and when we flip, Ileana says that we can put a spell on top of our deck, which ideally we want to put a spell that has a physical icon on it, because then we can Soul Strike. The physical is also really good for Legion, so we will discard it. So we're going to try and search for a physical and put on top of our deck. I think that has to be Magical Barrier. I think that's the only spell we have with a physical icon on it. But now that's on top of our deck. We can't really play it here, but we will discard it with Legion, which is okay. So that means I think we're going to attack with Legion. Yeah, I think we're actually going to attack with Legion. So Legion's going to attack for 1. That's going to do 1 damage. Going to take 1 consequential. But first, when any amount of damage will be dealt to Sandman, discard Sandform instead, resolve Surging Sands. So that gets discarded over here. This goes to 2. Then we mill 2 cards. We're almost at the end of the deck. Now or never, and our obligation. The damage doesn't go through. Now Legion says, and this happens before the consequential. So we'll discard Magic Barrier with Legion's ability, which heals 2 health. So Legion goes up to 3 and then takes consequential. Top of our deck is now Prof X, which we could play for 2 resources if we wanted to. Not the most important. Okay, we're coming back. We got this. So let's use Limbo. Put Colossus on top of the deck. We'll play Colossus during the enemy phase. So we don't really need the Soul Strike. This is when an enemy attacks you. I still think we need the Soul Strike. So we'll X-Gene. We will pitch Polaris to get into the discard pile and play Soul Strike. It says deal 4 damage to an enemy. So that's 4 damage to Sandman. Down to 7. And then the top card of our deck, it's a physical or a wild. So we'll stun Sandman as well. So we'll block 1 attack here. I think actually we will play Colossus here for 2. Yeah, that allows us to play Mystical Armor as well. We can also play Prof X to get this down because I think Dark Designs is going to ruin the game for us. How many are out? 1? Did we mill 1 early? No, if we draw Dark Designs, we're probably cooked. Unless we can get us confused, which we can't. So I think in hindsight, we also need to do some threat. That means we won't be shoveling, so Sandclone will be attacking for 2. That's okay. We don't have guaranteed a powerful punch here because we're going to be throwing it out. We can play Colossus for 2. And then just exhaust Colossus to deal with City Streets. It'll leave us with the ability to play Mystical Armor, and then we can block Sandclone. I feel like getting the City Streets down is like not super important here, but it's not the worst thing. I feel like having Prof X to ready us is also really good because then we could do the City Streets. That's probably a bit better here, and we'll leave Colossus. So we'll pitch 3 for Prof X. We just won't use the top of our deck ability, which is a bit unfortunate. When Prof X comes into play, either confuse the villain, ready an X-Men, or stun. You think we'll probably ready Magik? Now Magik has 3 attack because of Soul Sword. So we could either deal with City Streets, which I think we will because then Sandclone attacks for 0. So I'm going to exhaust Magik to take 2 off of this, technically 3. And then Prof X will take 3 off of this. Prof X can't really chump block here because Sandman's probably not going to be attacking, which is a bit of a waste. This also kind of stinks actually because Prof X won't be in the discard pile. For the like for the shuffle. So actually maybe that's bad. Maybe we don't do that. Yeah, hold on. That probably isn't it. So we're exhausted. This is on 6. Yeah, I don't like that. And I don't like that because then Prof X will miss the cycle, which means we'll only play Prof X once. So this is us. Oh, we have the X chat. It's behind the microphone. Oh my God. Okay, wait, that's huge. So we have another resource here. So if that's the case, I think we'll play Colossus for 2. Yeah, that stinks. Okay, so we'll do 1. We'll keep the Powerful Punch. 2. We'll play Colossus from the top of our deck. Revealing our last card. It's the Scrying we knew about. Colossus is great. Comes in toughness. Good stats too. We don't mind if Colossus misses the shuffle because there's a lot of ways to recur Colossus with our stepping discs. We'll now exhaust Colossus to take 2 off of this down to 4. That takes the toughness off because of the consequential. This leaves us with this hand. So I think it's either the Armored Vest or the Mystical Armor. I think I'd rather just play the Mystical Armor. It gives us Retaliate. And usually, well, okay, not usually. Sometimes they give us +1 defense, but we'll take the Retaliate for sure. All right, no one's shoveling. We're at 2. That's fine. We'll hold on to the Powerful Punch because we can Powerful Punch the Sandclone and draw 2 cards, and then we'll pass. We're going to have another counter card because we're going to deck out, and we're off. So we draw Scrying, counter card, shuffle. Again, when this deck's out, we have to take 3 and direct, which we have to be careful about. So it'll deck out probably in 2 turns, depending on how City Streets goes. We're also like really close to getting our Nemesis, which we lose Limbo when that happens. We have to get it back. And our Nemesis is like pretty big. I think it attacks for like 2 villainous or 1 villainous, which having something to chump block that if we need to in a pinch will be important because we can actually spawn it during the villain activation and then it'll activate against us. All right, so we're on 1, 2, 3, come get me, bub. 4 is a stepping disc, which is flexible. 5 is another change of fortune, which is great. Top of the deck is a riposte, which means we have +1 defense. We could also even play that if we wanted to, but I think we'll keep that just in case. In theory, we have to decide here with Limbo if we want to do a quick swap. I think we will swap with the Powerful Punch, so we pay it for 1 and defeat the Sandclone. So we'll exhaust Limbo and get that done. I also want to use Limbo sooner than later before Belasco shows up and takes it away. So at least we use Limbo and set up the Powerful Punch. All right, this goes up to 5. Sandman would attack but is stunned. Sandclone is now going to attack for 2 damage because there's 2 counters on City Streets. And so in response, we're going to spend 1 from the X-Jet to play Powerful Punch, revealing the card underneath it, which is Soul Strike, which is good. And this just says deal 4 damage to an enemy that initiates attack. So that'll defeat the Sandclone. When the Sandclone is defeated, we have 2 triggers here. Firstly, the Sandclone will fire Surging Sands. So this goes up to 3. We mill Friends and Family, a Common Criminal, and the last Dark Designs. Good to see that. It's defeated. And then we can fire Change of Fortune finally, which says when you defeat something during the villain phase, draw 2 cards. So we draw the Soul Strike, we draw the Unflappable, and reveal a Riposte again. Sometimes you don't want to fire this if the top of the card, like the top of the deck, actually makes sense. We've already used the once per phase ability, so no stress there. All right, 2 encounter cards. We're feeling okay now. Calling in favors. I think this grabs Rhino, right? If Rhino is in play, Rhino schemes with +2, which is really funny. Rhino's very bad at scheming. If Rhino's not in play, search and counter discard pile for Rhino and put him to play engage with you. I'll only help you if you help me break things and take them. Get it? Because of everything else that happened. This is Rhino. Big guy. Schemes very poorly, if not at all. Acts like a truck. It's cool to see Rhino back after the core set. 8 health is a lot, has steady as well, and has overkill and piercing on the attack, which makes sense. So we'll have to deal with Rhino sooner than later. Shouldn't be a big deal. And then we have Drawing Nearer, which means we are guaranteed to get our Nemesis at the, not the worst time, but right now, in fact. So Force Response, after your turn begins, discard the top card of your deck. Yep, we knew what that was. Place 1 Pursuit counter and Pursued by the Past for each printed resource icon. So this hits 4. And when this card hits 4, we go grab our Nemesis and put into play. This is our Nemesis. We got a lot of damage to deal with immediately. This is Belasco. Belasco has 6 health and Villainous. After Belasco activates against you, discard the top 3 cards of your deck, and if Ruler of Limbo is in play, attach those cards face down. Also 3 boost icons. This is Ruler of Limbo. This thing comes in with 3 threat. It says threat cannot be removed from this while Belasco's in play. It has an amplify icon, and it says when revealed, the Ilyana Rasputin player finds Limbo and attaches the face down here. I don't know why it says Ilyana Rasputin. If we're not Ilyana, do we still have to do this? I assume we do, but we're technically like the Magik player, aren't we? When this scheme is defeated, we get control of Limbo again. And again, Belasco can add more cards underneath Ruler of Limbo. This shuffles 3 cards into the deck. 2 of them are minions. 1 of them has Quick Strike and hits pretty hard. The other one is Sim, and Sim also adds threat. And those are going to be shuffled into a pretty small deck. So while City Streets might discard them, we're pretty likely to draw into those cards when you draw into your Nemesis late into the game. Okay, so 3 threat, 5 threat. Big things to deal with. Drawing Nearer, we can discard, mind you, by discarding an Alter Ego, an identity-specific card. In terms of damage in our hand, not too much. This is where like having Meditation on top of your deck stinks. You can still play it, but you lose the +1 resource. And in theory, I think we probably want to just scrying here to get deeper into our deck. Ideally, we want the top card of the deck to have a physical icon so we can get use of our +3 attack. We have no magic cards in our bin to put on top of the deck, which we might want to get ready for that in case we Stepping Disc. But we'll look at the top 3 cards of the deck. Notably, you look at them, you don't draw them. So while I can look at these 3, I can't see this 3rd card because technically these cards are still on top. Okay. That's at least my understanding. So Legion, if we want to set up, Legion can attack and deal 3 damage as long as there's an energy icon on top, which we can set up a Riposte on top. That's totally fine. We can play the Meditation. I think Sorcerer Supreme is pretty good. However, I think we need to do a lot more this turn. I think we have to really push forward this turn. So I think we're going to have to discard it shamefully and just add this on top of the deck. We won't Meditation again. I think we're just going to attack with Legion. So Legion is going to be doing 3 damage. So we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which won't take down anyone. I am actually more worried about Belasco, I feel, because we can always chump block with Rhino, but Belasco hits sometimes harder, but then its text is worse. After Belasco activates, discard the top 3 cards, attach them to that. That's not the worst, but if we want to get rid of this, we have to get rid of Belasco. So I'm going to attack with Legion. So that does 1 damage. And Legion says we can discard the top card of our deck. If it's an energy icon, deal 2 damage to an enemy. So that'll drop this down to 3. In theory, if we drop it to 4, we can finish it off with Soul Strike. That might be actually a bit more reasonable. I wonder if we want to Soul Strike Sandman. Otherwise, we can do 1 damage to Rhino and leave Belasco on 4. That also might make sense. Yeah, I guess we will. We'll split the load. So this will go down to 4. Top card of our deck is now a Genius. Not super useful. We can draw that with Spiritual Meditation. We probably will. I think we will. So now we'll Spiritual Meditation again. So draw 2 cards. Top of the deck is now a physical icon. That's perfect. And we have to discard 1 of these cards. Jocasta's not bad. I think there's no shot we're going to play a Come Get Me Bub, so we can just get rid of that and not think about it too much. Now, this is not a great card from the top of our deck because we haven't played the top of our deck yet, but Stepping Disc means we can put a spell on top, so we can play Scrying again and then just keep drawing through our deck, which is pretty good. So we also can stun somebody because we have a physical on top of the deck. Oh, we actually got punished because we have a physical, which means if we did the 1 damage to Blasco, Magik could basic activation could take out Blasco. So maybe we'll still like waste a bit of damage into Blasco. Maybe Jocasta will help actually. Yeah, I think we'll help with Jocasta to do 1 damage here. So Genius, and we'll do Riposte. Oh, we'll do Change of Fortune for Jocasta. After Jocasta enters play, grab a defense event and attach it to Jocasta. You can play it as if you're in hand. So we can set up a powerful punch to actually defeat Blasco. That might be good. Yeah, I like that actually a lot. So when Blasco attacks, we'll powerful punch Blasco. And so then we'll get our fortune. Okay. So that means we need to deal with Rhino. I feel like this turn we've lost the plot a couple times. It's okay. We're still holding on. We want to shovel. We want to deal with this, but we have to deal with Blasco first. If we can stun Sandman, that would probably be good. Sandman's on 7 health. So let's stun Sandman. So let's generate X Gene. We'll throw out the Riposte for Soul Strike. Soul Strike just says deal 4 damage. So Sandman's going to take 4. And then because the top of the deck is a physical, we can go get that stun. All right. So now the only thing that we're worried about is Rhino. Rhino has 7 health. We can attack for 5, and then we can attack for 2 more with Stepping Disc. So Colossus for 2. Magik for 3, because Soul Sword, we have +1 because the top of the deck. Then we'll pitch Unflappable for Stepping Disc. Stepping Disc says, ready your hero, choose a magic card, put it on top of your deck. In theory, if we had a 1-cost magic card here, we could play it cheaply. We have Scrying on top of the deck. Do we actually want to play Scrying here? I don't think we do. I think we'll just set up with another Soul Strike and just have that for next turn. Because I don't think we want to play Scrying because we'll have no cards in hand. So we won't be able to play much. Okay, Magik will now attack for 2, defeating Rhino. And I think Jocasta here will thwart for 2. All right, let's go. We don't have to get rid of Drawing Near anymore because it'll be a while before it actually matters. Again. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, Magic's Crown. 5 is Exorcism, top of the deck. It's a Spiritual Meditation. We don't have Limbo, so we can't make any more cool decisions, but this is going to go to 4. Sandman would attack us, but is stunned, and now Belasco is going to attack us. When Belasco attacks us, we're just going to go ahead and generate a resource, and I'll throw out the second powerful punch to play this powerful punch. It says, when an enemy initiates an attack, deal 4 damage, which will defeat Belasco. Belasco is defeated, and that means we can fire Change of Fortune to draw 2 cards, which we will. So we draw Spiritual Meditation, we'll draw a powerful punch. Top of the deck is now a Magical Barrier, which is a totally reasonable play if we get attacked one more time. 1 encounter card, Sand Clone. Not too bad. Another thing that we can fire off of our Change of Fortune. It's going to come in with 3 health, and we have 3 sand counters. So we definitely have to shovel some sand here. Okay, it's back to us. We're doing all right. I think we can do this. So top of the deck is physical. That's really good, which means Magik can one-shot the Sand Clone. We can also keep the Sand Clone around for a powerful punch if we want to hold on to that, which is also fine. So this one on top of the deck, but Drawing Near, once your turn starts, we have to discard this, which puts 1 counter here. And then we reveal, okay, so it's a Stepping Disc. All right. So Legion wants the physical on top of the deck. For sure. We can play Stepping Disc for free to ready ourselves and put a physical on top of our deck so we can kind of force the issue. I think that's kind of okay here. Yeah, I think that's actually okay. So what are we going to do? We currently have 1 attack. So we have 2 attack, 1 thwart. We also could just like let the Retaliate defeat the Sand Clone. That's a bit cheaper. So we're going to attack for 2 into the Sand Clone, not defeat it. Then using Magic's ability, we'll play the top card of our deck. Not that Magic, this Magic. So we'll play Stepping Disc. It says, ready your hero. Technically, we see the next card first because this is resolving over here, if I'm not mistaken. Choose a Magic card and add it to the top of your deck. So we're just going to try and get a physical icon on top. This means now Legion now attacks, or Legion now thwarts for 1. I'll drop this down to 2. Then we'll discard this, which heals 2. So this goes up to 3. Why are there 2 in a row? Wait, why is that face up? Oh, because we saw it. Yeah, we saw it. And then takes 1. So we actually could have put anything on top of the deck. Wait a second. That was wrong then. We saw this when that resolved, so we should have put a mental on top of the deck. Oh my god, hold on. No, but we need to discard with Legion, yeah. But we need the mental on top for the exorcism. So I think here we're just going to Spiritual Meditation and hope that we find a mental. So we draw 2. We see the not card of the deck. It's a mental, that's perfect. And we have to discard a card. I think we can just get rid of the Come Get Me Bub, no problem. Okay, now there's a mental on top of the deck, which means we can generate with the X Gene. We can throw out the powerful punch and we can play Exorcism. That just does 4 threats, so we'll remove 4 from here. And because there's a mental, we'll confuse Sandman. All right, we're chugging along now. I think we can play Polaris here. think Soul Strike for 4 damage advances Sandman. I think Sandman, when we advance, we have to do City Streets again, so we need to lower that before we defeat Sandman. If we stay here, we'll get attacked. So we can play Polaris, defeat Jocasta, getting rid of the Ruler of Limbo, and then drawing nearest stays. Otherwise, oh, we're ready too. We're ready? I guess we're ready. Yeah, because we readied. Yeah, we're so ready. I guess we're going to heal. Yeah, we probably just recover here. All right, we'll exhaust Colossus to remove 2 from here. Colossus has 2 attack. Oh, we could do 3 attacks sometimes, but I don't think we can move the top of the deck anymore. So then we're going to use Jocasta, who will be defeated, taking 2 damage. I'll clear Ruler of Limbo. Ruler of Limbo says that when it's cleared, I think we just get control back of Limbo, if I'm not mistaken. When the scheme is defeated, put Limbo into play under its owner's control. So that's gone. We don't have the acceleration, or sorry, the amplify icon. We are almost decking out the... Oh, actually, we might have some time there. All right, so we've actually used Legion. So we can play Polaris to get a toughness. We can eat Sandman's attack. Sandclone will defeat itself. I think that may be better. We don't have to jump down this turn, so I think we will. I think we'll just pitch 3 cards here for Polaris. After Polaris enters play, you can give toughness to an X-Men. We'll give it to Magik. Comes in with 3 health. 1 attack to thwart again. The Sandclone will be defeated on its own. It'll be doing 1 damage to us, but then will defeat itself to change of fortune, retaliate. So here with Polaris, we can attack for 2 into Sandman. I think we will, because then Legion can finish off Sandman. So if Sandman will go down to 1. Oh, actually means Sandman will be defeated by retaliate damage. That also fires change of fortune, which is kind of fun. What's the back of Sandman? What's Sandman 3? How bad is it? Because if Sandman 3 adds a bunch of counters, then the Sandclone is going to hit really hard. Oh, it's placed 1 counter. I feel like we can live in that world. There's just nothing else for Polaris to do. Maybe we'll hold on. I don't know. I don't think we want to advance when it's on 2 counters. Because then the Sandclone hits only 1 harder. Yeah, that's fine. I think that's fine. What do we do with Magik, actually? I guess if that's the case, then Magik will just defeat the Sandclone here. So that we take less damage. So we'll defeat the Sandclone with Magik attacking. That fires this. So this goes to 2. And then we mill 2 cards. Yeah, that's fine. So we mill Witchfire, get rid of that. It was 2 boost icons and a Sand Smash. So I think the big troll guy is still in there who adds threat here. I think that's everything we can do. That was a wild turn. Okay. So we're ready up. We have Limbo if we need it. I think we're going to deck out here. We have to draw 5 cards. 1, Soul Strike, Stepping Disc, double, and then a Spiritual Meditation. Top of the deck will be a double 2, which here we can decide with Limbo if we want to do some swaps. I don't think we have a huge reason to do swaps because I don't think we're going to play any of these cards. So I just think we'll keep Limbo for later on during our next hero phase. All right, this goes to 1. Sandman's attacking for 3 in a card. Again, this does indirect damage, which means we can assign up to 5 of the damage to Magik because Magik has 5 health. Toughness does work well against indirect damage because it can block all the damage you can assign to one character, from my understanding. If it's extra damage, we'll just assign it to one of these characters and not care. So 3 in a card, 1 boost icon on Sinister Strike, that's 4 damage. We'll take the toughness. We do retaliate 1 to Sandman, so Sandman is going to get defeated, which means we actually go to Sandman 3. And so Sandman 3 is going to come in with 19 health. Schemes for 1 still attacks for 3. I'll flip that over. And it says when revealed, place 1 sand counter on City Streets, resolve its Surging Sands. So 3. And then we resolve its Surging Sands, so it goes up to 4. Oh, I'm glad we killed the little minion. We ripped 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's only 1 card left, so we are going to empty out in just a moment, which will do indirect damage to us. Now, this text is different. Sandwave. When Sandman attacks you, that attack gains overkill. If your identity takes any amount of damage from that attack, resolve the Surging Sands. That's fine. That's like okay. Overkill means like we can't chump block. We haven't really been chump blocking at all. Now we did defeat somebody during this phase. So Change of Fortune, which should be ready, says after you defeat an enemy during the villain phase, draw 2 cards. Now, if we do this, we'll still have 1 card left in our deck. So we won't deck out and draw another encounter card. So I will Change of Fortune here just to draw because energy and then a Prof X. Top of the deck is an Exorcism. Okay. Now we draw 1 encounter card. This causes the deck to be empty. And when the deck is empty, we get an acceleration icon and immediately shuffle the deck. And notably, Hapless Pedestrian says that when we get an acceleration icon, deal 3 indirect damage to the first player. We only have 5 health. Now, in theory, we can know what this card is because we've gone through the whole deck. And in theory, you can count cards and figure it out. I don't know what it is. If it's an attack, it's an attack. We're going to empty our deck soon. So I don't mind taking 1 to Polaris. Colossus will probably be on shovel duty unless we can get Magik up to 3 attack, which I think we can. We'll probably flip down this round. So I think we're okay taking 1 in Colossus, and then 1 in Legion's also fine. I'll just keep ourselves healthy. Again, I don't mind knocking out our allies right before our deck is about to cycle, because then we can get them back relatively soon. Legion will heal if we really want to work on Legion healing, and that'll be fine. Next turn, we will be drawing 2 encounter cards for sure. And sometimes it's a bit dicey when you're on alter ego, but at least with only 1 threat, we're not too bad. All right, our encounter card here is Sand Clone. Okay, yeah, that tracks. The Sand Clone has 3 health. When we defeat it, we do the city street stuff. And of course, it's attacking for, well, currently 4. All right, it's back to us. We can play Prof X here for a Confuse. Actually, there's no reason to do that, so we could do it for a Ready. Well, wait, hold on. We have to do Drawing Near. So we discard the top card of our deck. That empties us out, so we get an encounter card pending, and we have to shuffle. So the top card of our deck won't be known. It's funny how Drawing Near actually sometimes can help you. I think I might have missed a counter on that. I'm not sure. I feel like the time that we forgot to do that, we might have forgot to increase the counter. I'll just increase the counter just in case. I'd rather err on the hard side than the easy side. All right, we'll shuffle up. Top of the deck, it's an Exorcism. Not fantastic. So here we have Limbo. Here we can start with the Spiritual Meditation, I imagine. Legion wants a physical on top. We can also just do like 19 damage to Sandman. We could confuse the Sand Clone, but it's not super important. Prof X is like, yeah, just not great right now. We could use it for a Ready, but I think we want a physical on top of the deck so that we can do 3 off of the city streets, and we'll have to get rid of Drawing Near this turn, which should be fine. So we'll start with Meditation here. Draw 2, discard 1, so we draw 2. Top of the deck is a Stepping Disc. We have to discard a card from our hand. I mean, there's no way we play Exorcism. Top of the deck is now a Stepping Disc, which we can play for free using our ability. We can also add it to our hand. When we play that, we have to put on top of our deck. Actually, sometimes this is like kind of interesting. So when we play this, choose a magic card in your discard pile not named Stepping Disc and put on top of your deck. So because the fact that we discarded Exorcism means we have to put Exorcism on top of our deck. The thing is, I don't think we want Exorcism on top of our deck. So if that's the case, I think I'm actually going to discard Armored Vest instead. No, I'll discard Unflappable. I think that's less good. Just so that if we play Stepping Disc, we can just have the next card underneath it, which might just be better for us. Because I do not want the thing on top of our deck. I don't want the Exorcism on top of our deck. So we're really looking for a physical on top of our deck. There's actually a chance that we might just swap the strength on top of our to the top just so we can Soul Strike and then we can shuffle for 3 and then flip down. That might be fine. Honestly, that might just be fine. Oh, the allies did miss the cycle. That's okay. So I'm going to use Limbo to swap 2 cards. Cool. Now we have 3 attacks. So I'm going to exhaust Magik here because 3 attack is of the Soul Sword. Just to shuffle 3 off of this once per turn. Cool. Now I think we're going to go for the Soul Strike. So it costs 2. I think we're going to use the X Gene on something else. So we'll just do Energy into Soul Strike. It says deal 4 damage to an enemy. So we'll deal 4 to Sandman. Down to 15 and stun because the top of the deck is the icons that we want it to be. Okay, Legion will thwart for 1. And Legion's text, we can choose to discard the top of the deck. We will. It's a physical, so we heal 3. And then we take 1, so we're down to 2. Top of the deck now is double mental. Ugly. Really ugly. Okay, that's fine. Now Sand Clone, if we defeat it, it's not that bad. Yeah, it's not that bad. We're going to be drawing 2 encounter cards. 15 damage. Do we just have enough damage? This is 4 damage. We can play 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wait, do we actually just have enough damage? Could we just attack with Legion? How much damage do we have? With Legion, we can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Stepping Disc means we can go again. 6, 7. We don't have a magic card with physical on top, which sucks. And then we could do Stepping Disc 8, 9. No, but it's close. I think we can consider just throwing a lot of damage. We probably need to pop down and discard a card though, so we'll discard Exorcism, but we are close to having enough damage here. This being on top of the deck sucks, so we'll try and find something that's playable here. So we'll play Soul Strike again. So we'll play Stepping Disc with X Gene. So Ready Magik. Grab a non-Stepping Disc card, put on top of our deck, so that's a Soul Strike. We'll now X-Jet to play the Soul Strike from the top of the deck, which does deal 4 damage to an enemy. I think we'll just keep the Sand Clone around, so we'll do 4 damage to Sandman. That means now we have 2 attacks still. I think we'll just attack for 2. Down to 9. Oh, wait, maybe we actually had lethal. I think we have lethal. Yeah, I think we might have lethal. So here, we'll pitch Prof X for a Stepping Disc. Same thing. So we'll Ready, put the Soul Strike on top. Oh, we can't play the Soul Strike again, of course. So here, there's nothing we can really put on top. We're ready again. So that means we have 2, 4, 6 more damage. So we're short 3 damage. Legion could have done 2 more damage potentially. That's okay. So we'll have a Soul Strike for next turn. If that's the case, I think we'll just do Colossus for 2 damage. Oh, we can just hold on to them because there's no rush pushing them out right now. We defeat the Sand Clone, that's okay. So Magik will attack for 2, down to 7. We'll flip down to Alter Ego, which flips the top cards back. And then we'll just discard Exorcism to get rid of Drawing Near, which requires you to discard a card that's identity specific while you're in Alter Ego. This leaves us with the Armored Vest. I don't care to hold on to this. We could activate with both Colossus and Polaris. I don't think there's anything that does like chip damage to our allies, so we're okay keeping them around. And then next turn, we should have no problem popping up and doing 7 damage. So we should be there. All right, we'll pass. Drawing cards. We have a Soul Strike. Of course we do. Genius. Of course we do. Powerful Punch. Okay. Actually, if we stayed into hero mode. Oh, I guess Sandman is stunned. We get a Riposte, and then we get another Change of Fortune. Okay. So this goes up to 2. Sandman would scheme, but is confused. Sand Clone schemes for 1. We draw 2 encounter cards. Hopefully not Dark Designs. Sandstorm. Darude. When revealed, deal X direct damage among players where X is equal to the number of sand counters on city streets. So that is just 1 direct damage. We'll just take it to ourselves. So we'll take 1. If there are no sand counters, place 3. Okay. So staying on 1 counters actually seems reasonable. Calling in favors. We've seen this once before. So this is going to bring Rhino. Rhino schemes. If not, go grab Rhino. Luckily, Rhino doesn't have guard or anything. So we should just be able to flip up and close the game off. Let me just find the big guy. That's Rhino. Back from the core set. It's really cool to see the same like characters or villains again. Rhino, big guy, scheme low, attack big, hit with horn. Now we just have to flip up and do 7 damage to Sandman, which shouldn't be a problem at all. All right. So on this side, we don't have much to do here. We're going to flip up. Ileana lets us put a spell on top of our deck. We're just going to go ahead and put a stepping disc, just so that we can ready and go again. We're on this side. We'll play Genius for Soul Strike. That's 4 damage into Sandman. We don't get the stun, which is fine. And then F it. We'll attack with Legion. Oh, hold on, actually. Wait a second. Slow down, Andre. I totally forgot. The end of the scenario is actually a bit more interesting because we have like experience that we have to spend. And so we have to actually hit all of these things. Mind you, I haven't shown you this, but at the end of this campaign or at the end of this scenario, we get victory points for all the conditions at the bottom there. So no minions in play, no side schemes in play, no threat on the main scheme, fewer than 1 acceleration. Obviously, we've biffed that already. So in theory, we have to clear all these minions. We have work to do. Wait, it's not that easy. So this is on 3. So we actually should think a bit here. That means we have work. We have genuine work to do. Okay, so we need to defeat everybody. I'll call up. We can do this. So our hand stinks. Our hand is just really bad. No way around that. I think we need to play Stepping Disc. So we're attacking for 2. I think that's fine. We're attacking for 2. We'll attack into the Sand Clone. Then, from the top of the deck, I think we play Stepping Disc. This is Ready Your Hero. Choose a magic card in your discard pile to put on top of your deck. So Exorcism is an option for sure. We could do a Soul Strike for Rhino and set that up as well. Putting a physical on top of our deck is kind of nice, but we don't have any. So we'll just put a Soul Strike on top of the deck. Oh, but we can't play the Soul Strike on top of the deck because we played the Stepping Disc. Oh no, we have Limbo. We'll be fine. Okay, so we're ready again. We can Limbo to swap Soul Strike for a physical. So now we have 3 attack. So attacking the Sand Clone might have been a bit wrong. We don't actually need the stun here. It might be better to put an energy on top of the deck because of Legion. Yeah, I think it is. So we'll swap instead with the Riposte. That means Legion will attack for 1 damage into the Sand Clone. When the Sand Clone is defeated, we do this. So this goes up to 2. We mill 2 cards. So we lose another Sand Clone and a Dirt Trap. Then when Legion, we can discard the top card of our deck. It is an energy icon. So we can deal 2 damage to an enemy. We'll do it, I believe, to Rhino. Top card of the deck. Another Soul Strike. Okay. Yeah, I was just about to send it. I'm like, wait, actually, there's some nuance here at the end, which I do appreciate. So you don't just like full send. You actually have to like care about the board state. I think that's cool. Okay. So we can set up the Powerful Punch here if we just like finish Rhino off. So Polaris is going to attack for 2, dropping Rhino to 4. That means that we can get Rhino with the Powerful Punch. Can we clear this off and defeat Sandman? Oh, we don't want to because this will be a 2 and we don't want to defeat Sandman because then we end the scenario with 2 on there. We haven't want to clear that entirely. Okay, so we can Soul Strike Rhino. We can also just Powerful Punch Rhino. We might as well. I think we're thwarting with Colossus, who's defeated. Sandman's stunned, which is nice. We are attacking for 2. I don't know whether we've shoveled or not. I don't think we've shoveled this turn. So the only thing we can really play in our hand is Soul Strike. So I think we do play Soul Strike. So we'll just do Soul Strike. I guess we have to do into Rhino because otherwise we defeat Sandman and we don't want to do that. So we clean the board off. Legion's left standing. This hand stinks. This hand's not good. is actually really bad. I guess Magik will just shovel. So next turn, we need to clear 3 off of this, which Legion can do, and we just need to do 2 damage to Sandman. Or 3 damage, technically, because Sandman's not attacking us. That means we can hold on to the powerful punch, but actually, no, I don't think we need any of these cards. So we'll just pass. Oh, not so soon, Andre, not so quick. Magic's Crown, we get the Sorcery Supreme, which we haven't been able to play, which is a shame. Top of the deck is Exorcism, which is good for 4th Wart. This goes to 3. Sandman is stunned. Encounter card is Loose Ends. This says, search and counter deck, discard pile, and set aside area for your obligation. So search and counter side, discard pile, set aside, and remove from game area for your obligation and reveal it. During the reveal, if you change to alter ego, discard a random card. If your obligation was not revealed this way, gain search. Okay, so it will be revealed. So we just have to watch out. If we go to alter ego, we have to discard a card at random, which shouldn't be a big deal. Our obligation is Dark Child. Dark Child says you may flip, which randomly discards a card. That doesn't seem like a big problem here. Exhaust Ileana or deal 1 damage to each character you control. That'll defeat Legion. I think we'll flip. That means we randomly discard a card. I'll do 1 on left. 4. We lost. That's fine. Now we either have to exhaust Ileana or deal 1 damage. No, I guess we're exhausting Ileana, so she's exhausted. This is now removed from the game. Okay, cool thing about being an alter ego is we can set up the top of the deck, and all we have to do at the top of the deck is clear 4 threat. So, and do 3 damage. So our hand has the damage, so all we need to do is clear 3 threat, which means with Legion, we can clear 3 threat by just making sure the top of the deck has a mental icon. So with Ileana, we'll flip up. Ileana allows us to grab a spell to put on top of the deck. We'll just put a spell with a mental resource on it. That'll be a Soul Strike. Cool. Now we'll use Legion. Legion, will it's ward for 1. After that, discard the top card of the deck. If it's a mental, remove 2 threat from a scheme. So we'll clear this out. Legion's defeated. And then all we're going to do here is spend 1 and 1 to finish off with a Soul Strike, dealing 4 damage and no other relevant text, defeating Sandman. All right, we got there. It was looking bad. At some point, we had like 6 schemes out all at once, which is a problem. We didn't even fully set up, which is pretty cool, but we got to that loop and we got Change of Fortune to fire a couple times. It gets a bit awkward in the mid game when all your cards on the table and you're drawing hands that's just like powerful punch, come get me bub and all that sort of stuff. I guess we should just be playing come get me bub on tempo. But here we cleaned up everything, which is really important because now we have to check here our victory. I think we missed 1 victory potentially. So we got Public Outcry victory, which is important. This card is in the victory display because we cleared it. So that's victory 1. There was 1 more victory card in this encounter deck that we didn't get to. We milled it relatively quickly, and it is the side scheme that is shuffled in randomly 1 out of 5. Let's see if we can find it. Yeah, it was this one, Off the Rails. And because we didn't clear it, we lost that victory, but we did get victory 1 here. Otherwise, we got victory 2 for no side schemes in play. Victory 3 we don't get because acceleration tokens we have at least 1, not fewer than 1. No mains in play, so that's 1, 2, 3. No threat in the main scheme is 4. No defeated identities, that is 5. So we get 5 points on this, which is pretty good. That hits a good break point. And so now we get some extra benefits. Firstly, we get to grab one of the random shield tech upgrades, and then that becomes a permanent card. We have to deal ourselves 3, and then we get to pick one of them. We also are going to get an additional mulligan every time we set up, so we can do mulligan into a mulligan, which is kind of fun. However, on the other side, there's some negative things that catch up with us. Firstly, we're going to get a random Osborne tech that's going to be following us. That'll be shuffled into the deck. And also during setup, we're going to be placing 1 additional threat on every main scheme going forward. So things get easier, but things get harder, which is really kind of cool. But the deeper you go down the chart, the more powerful it gets. So it also scales with how worse it gets. But it's a really fun campaign mechanic that I like a lot. To start, let's go grab a cool Osborne tech. These are really cool cards because not all of them are all upsides. Some of them actually do have downsides to them. They all start on one side, and later on, if you do well, you can upgrade them, and the back sides are much better here. So what we're going to do, there's 8 of them. We have to pick 3. So for the first one, I'm going to pick even is one side, odd is the other side. So it's even. And then we're just going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. 3. All right, we're going to do it again. So a bit uneven, but we'll do even, odd. Even. 1, 2, 5, 6. All right, finally, there's only 6 cards here, right? So we'll just roll a die. 3. Okay. These are our options to choose between. So firstly, we have laser goggles. Laser goggles, you get -1 thwart. Don't like that idea. You get +1 attack. Your hero's basic attack gains overkill. That can put us at 3 attack, sometimes 4 attack. We don't really like attacking minions that much. We like to defeat minions during the villain phase, so I don't think this is a great start. -1 thwart is going to be a problem if we're at 0 thwart, that's for sure. Next up, we have the Propulsion Gauntlets. Exhaust Propulsion Gauntlets takes 2 indirect damage to ready your hero. This is a hero action, so you can't do that during the villain phase. We don't have a lot of healing in the deck, so I don't quite love that. Let's hopefully see this last one's a bit better. We then have Wave Bracers. Your hero gets -1 attack, but you get +1 defense. That's good. Gains Retaliate 1, which stacks so we can have Retaliate 2 and Steady. So I don't actually like these options that much. This is probably the best one. Having -1 attack is rough. That puts us at 1 attack, technically 2 attack once we get our sword down. But having +3 defense is nice because we do want a perfect block. We can maybe tune our deck a bit more to be a perfect block deck. Gain Retaliate 1. Again, Retaliate 2 is a lot, and that will help a lot with Change of Fortune. But having double Steady doesn't actually matter. So not the best pick, I'll be honest, but I think we're going to end up taking Wave Bracers for sure. I don't think I like these other ones at all. When this gets upgraded, we ended up getting +2 defense and Stalwart, which is kind of sick. Retaliate as well. And hopefully if we get enough experience, that will happen later. Next up, there's a bunch of Osborne tech. We have to grab one of them randomly and it'll be added in. There's 6 of them, so we'll just do 1, 6, 2. So we're going to get Spiked Gauntlet. This will just be following us for the whole campaign. It'll be shuffled into the deck. So as Surge, you attach it to the villain, it has 3 boost icons. It gives the villain +1 attack. And as a hero action, when this is attached, the villain can attack us. And after the attack ends, if we took no damage, we can discard this. It's actually like thematically lines up pretty well with our like perfect block build. So that might not be the worst. And maybe that's a way to do 2 damage off Retaliate. I'm not sure. But that's it. First scenario. It was a bit difficult. I don't think it's going to get easier, that's for sure. Venom is really difficult. That'll be the next scenario in the campaign. Specifically, you start with like 2 hazard icons, which is a lot of cards. Drawing 3 cards in round 1 really does stink. And Venom can hit like a truck. So not looking forward to that. Ideally, having that +1 defense might help there a fair bit. With that, thanks so much for watching. Hopefully you've been enjoying this. We're going to finish off this whole campaign in videos. They'll be up on the channel. If you want to leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it, that helps a heck of a lot. We'll be back in the next one. Thanks for watching. Ciao.